Well, hi, folks, and welcome back to Culinary Life. Well, we are with Miranda Free today from Western Australia, and we filmed Miranda about 2 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, it was February 2020, just before everything went haywire.
A month before COVID kicked in. Oh, God. Hasn't that changed a lot of things for
It's
us?
changed so much, absolutely. But we in Western Australia have been pretty fortunate and had a pretty easy time of it so far.
Yeah, well, since then, when obviously there were some things that we had planned that didn't come about because of COVID, but they can still come about in the future, I would like to think anyway. But tell me
Mm.
what you've been up to since that time anyway.
Okay, so you might remember we were about to launch an international uh, activity of running plein air painting workshops to attract audience from overseas and interstate. And of course, that kind of fell in the heat. But what I have done since then, I've done a few Airbnb plein air painting workshops. We did a whole lot of markets for a while. However, the biggest thing that I have undertaken is I instigated and have coordinated a number of art trails in our local region. So it started out in Nannup, our little town of Nannup, in September, October of 2020, when things had opened up from the big lockdown. And it was 8 venues with about 20 artists, and it was a huge success. In March, April 2021, this year, we expanded it out to a couple of other towns in the region, Bridgetown and Balingup and surrounding areas. And that was 21 venues and over 30 artists, about 35 artists. And now we're together with a group now. We've become an incorporated association, the Blackwood River Arts Trail. We've signed on about 30 venues and between 60 and 70 artists. We're going to have a film festival. We're going to have theatre troupes come. We're going to have performers. So for next April in 2022. So it's expanding and very welcomed by the local community, local region, because we kind of miss out on some of the other art trails that are well known in the area. And it's really, really an exciting time. And this happened because of COVID, because I would have been doing something entirely different otherwise.
So how about your own work in that time?
Okay, well, lockdown was quite good for me because I had the time and quietness to paint a large portrait of a distinguished scientist that I used to work for, Dr. Melissa Little, who resides in Melbourne, and I had seen her just before all this and done some preparatory work. And I was successful in getting into the Salon des Refuses at the Brisbane Art Portrait Prize in 2020. So that was very exciting. I also got one of my still life works that was very used my interest in Margaret Olley as a inspiration. It was called Banksy Photo Bombs Margaret, and there's quite a story to it. Because in my little studio, I had a sticker of one of Banksy's famous images, and I'd set up a still life on a Margaret Olley book with a couple of vases of my mother's, who was always also a Margaret. And that was successful in getting into the Bustleton Art Award, which is quite a prestigious award. So that was a very good year for me, and I won a few more prizes at the Bustleton Art in the Park for some oil paintings. So I did quite well from that. And as a result of the video, I had a number of commissions. I did a commission for a business person called Thomas Murrell in Perth, who collects Western Australian female artists. And I did a portrait of his mother in PNG, and he was very pleased with that, and a few other portraits. So all in all, it's been going quite well in that respect. And with the success of the art trails, getting a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But also, after, things opened up a little bit here, instead of doing our plein air tours, we built a big studio for me downstairs under the house. You might remember we were in a tiny little room upstairs.
Yes,
I now have a room about 6 times the size of that or more under the house, and you can see some of it behind me.
Yeah.
So it's a studio gallery that I've called the Eyrie, because of the view we have across the valley and the river. And excuse me.
I can remember.
We're still working on it, but it's really beautiful and a fantastic spot to work. That is open to people to come and see. Yeah.
Wonderful. I can remember the time that it was very hot, if I remember correctly.
It hasn't been too hot lately. We've had 2 hot days. There was some big fires over Margaret River Way because of those 2 hot days. But apart from that, we're still fairly cool. And I'm thinking, where's my jacket? But it will warm up in January, February. It gets very warm, yeah. But under the house stays really cool. So it's a really great spot, yeah.
So what's the future hold? I mean, what's the next 5 years hold for you? What would you like to see anyway?
Now that the art trail has really become established and we've got a committee working on it, because the first 2, principally, I did all the coordination, and which was a little bit too much for me. And now we've got a committee of 8 people working on it, and I'm happy to hand it over to those that have a little bit more energy than me and new ideas. So whilst I'll continue to support that, I'm hoping to spend a bit more time on focusing on my own work and building up my website, mirandafree.com, and a few other maybe Etsy or big cartel site, because I do things such as, you can see some of this resin jewellery that my husband and I make, and I also do hand-dyed and silk-screened textiles, tea towels and aprons and cushions and such like. So I've got this sideline. Because we're fixing up the lead light windows down here, I had done lead light in many years ago. I've started looking at doing a bit more of that. So we've got those kind of things, as well as I'm planning on entering a few more portrait prizes. You might see behind me a portrait that I'm working on of a local Aboriginal woman, local to Perth, that I'd like to put in the Leicester Prize, whilst I continue with a lot of floral and wildflower still lifes, such as this one that's next to her and all along here. So plenty of things to keep me busy, really. So I don't know about doing the painting tours. It seems like it's all too difficult at the moment.
You get to the age where you go, maybe no.
Maybe no. Yeah. But now I have this studio, I can run art classes down here, which I may well do as time goes by. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, it's so great to see you again, Miranda. I really enjoyed the time that we spent with you anyway.
Thank you so much, Graeme. It's been really good to chat.
But it was wonderful, and thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.